How would you feel if you found out your dad was a peeping Tom on paper? When me and my coworker found out about our local case search where you can look up people who were arrested, we looked up everyone we knew, including family. This is how we found out her dad had a peeping Tom charge on his record. You know what's pretty wild about this? The fact that you were jokingly doing it, like, hey man, let's look up some people that we may know. Let's see what kind of charges, if they've ever been arrested before and never told anybody, or you didn't know. And then you're just like, hey, let me look up my dad and just see if he's ever done anything. And you're just like, no, Dad, you were actually arrested for being a peeping Tom and watching people through windows, cracks, God knows what it was, but you were caught for doing so. I can't even imagine the feeling that went over her body, discovering that in front of her coworker, a deep family secret that she never knew of finding out her dad being a peeping Tom, of all things. I guess it could be worse, but peeping Tom is still pretty bad. I don't know what you think, but if you have something to say about this secret right here, put it down in the comments below. But I believe the next secret is going to top this. When my grandfather passed away, we discovered that he did not exist. His name was not in any government registry. He was a normal citizen, paid taxes, had a license and everything. Lived a long life, married to my grandmother for over 50 years. Had multiple children, everything normal. Still to now, no one knows who he really was and why he had a false name. What's interesting about this is that no one will ever know. And I think that's a true family secret that's always going to live on. And regardless of whatever his secret was and his intention of not disclosing his real identity, he was still a grandfather to you and to your family, and he was still a father to multiple children and multiple grandchildren. Now, what he did in his past, I'm actually curious about. I don't know if the man was a bank robber. Was he a thief of sorts, or was he a getaway driver? I don't know, but I'm actually really curious, and just leads to speculation, which could be the fun part for your family, to give them a side story that you can tell your grandkids or your children. If you're watching this video, what do you think what their grandfather did? What do you think he did to hide his identity? I don't think any answers would be wrong. It's all speculative. I'm actually kind of curious. And same goes with this next grandfather. He was a mysterious... Same goes with this next grandfather. He was a mysterious man himself. My grandfather is a ghost on paper. We always grew up knowing he had skeletons in his closet, but I wasn't prepared for what he had done in his younger years. I started hearing rumors as a teen that he had been a pretty big robber. His specialty was cracking the safes. He would never admit it. In 2016, he randomly told me he also used to deal guns to the IRA. Like he was talking about the weather. It was bizarre. He also told me that he helped a couple triads hide out in Jamaica after they went on a run for beheading an adversary. They were fairly nice guys, according to him. It was only about 10 years ago he finally stopped sleeping with guns stashed under his bed and taking shady phone calls down the bottom of the garden. Only my grandmother knows his real name. No one else in the family does. I adore him, but he's an enigma to me. That's pretty wild. So the speculation that we had with the previous grandfather, we could have all led to the same conclusion of what this actual grandfather admitted to, being a robber, a dealer of sorts, even if it was guns, maybe it was other things, who knows, but he admitted to guns. And then only his grandmother knows his real name, so the family doesn't even know his real name, And he's still grandfather. He had kids. And he lived a life. And a life of crime of sorts. To what extent, we neither one of us know. I don't know. But I'm actually really curious. Now, when you said dealing guns to the IRA, I'm assuming that this was an Irish family of sorts. And hopefully I'm right. I don't imagine that he was dealing guns to the IRA and still living in the U.S. and kind of doing that travel, because that's never mentioned. But also, again, I'm speculating just as you are. But I'm also really curious as to know who he really was and what his actual story is. And I hope that you got that closure from your grandmother to discover who your grandfather was. If you have any other secrets, confessions, if you like these videos, if you enjoyed the stories or just the speculation, even just putting down the comments, a like and subscribe, it'd be much appreciated. Be on the lookout for the next video. I hope you guys have a great evening. Thank you for at least watching.